Welcome. This is Bill Swartz in Scottsdale with Rideshare Redemption. My story from riches to rags to rideshare. Reasons to believe in a changing America. When is it okay to laugh at homelessness? Is it okay to laugh at homelessness? How is it okay to laugh at homelessness? Keep watching and I will address those questions and more in this video entitled, When Homelessness is Funny. In February of 2016, I had just been evicted with a Chihuahua named Tequila and an old oversized dachshund by the name of Murphy. I had taken every possible item that made sense for a survival voyage on the street and packed it onto a shopping cart. Many blankets, tools, clothes, water, and so on. I had a Conestoga wagon of comic proportion, I promise you, with milk crates zip-tied onto the base at the front and the back both, filled with goods. And perched atop this storage facility on wheels are my two dogs, like wriggling strapped-in cherries on a Goodwill store Sunday. That first week we were posted at the intersection of 44th Street and McDowell every day with a sign. I was waiting to cross at the intersection during rush hour, and at the light made haste to get up ahead of steam and transport this one-man human tide across. The dogs were leashed to the cart way up top with harnesses on. As I charge across with cars literally working hard to run us over and gain speed with the cart, I hit a break in the road, and Tequila, my Chihuahua, is literally flung from the top of the pile, launched like a small medieval cannonball directly into the path of cars turning as we cross. However, she's tethered to the cart by a harness and a leash, and so she flies into midair, hits the end of the tether, and like a yo-yo in an instant is flung directly back into my arms, where I catch her, hold on, and finish the journey with my dog none the worse for wear, all things considered. So, back to the original question. Was any of that funny? Not HBO comedy special funny, but life is funny funny. I say hell yes, it's funny. Man plans and God laughs. Depending on your age, you either know this as the title of an album released by Public Enemy in 2015, or that this is the English translation of an ancient Yiddish proverb which Public Enemy based their reference on. Either way, it is true. Humans plan, yet life happens regardless. Life laughs in the face of our imagined control of the universe. And you should too. Again, I return to that original question. Is homelessness funny? It can be, as my story illustrates. More importantly, homelessness, though tragic, is part of life on this planet, at least for now. And life is funny, ergo, homelessness can be funny. But it's not funny when the homeless or homelessness are the objects of the humor. No one wants to be an object. You don't, and I don't. Imagine you love to hike mountain trails. You meet a great mountain climber who does things well beyond your ability. They are a wonderful storyteller and guide to the world of technical climbing above that you do not yet know. Eventually, through absorption, you are laughing at their funny tales of things you had no understanding of just a few hours before. Had you laughed then before understanding, it would be an embarrassment once you grasped the true gravity of the tales being told. This is how you learn to laugh at homelessness, through stories told from personal experience which allow you to join in the conversation from a place of respect and understanding. Stories which show you where the laughs go. Words and phrases like irony, comic opera, Greek tragedy, morality play, and others identify ways that humans have found to make fun of life's twists and turns throughout the ages. Laughing about terrible things helps one survive them. But if you have not experienced these things personally, wisdom and grace dictate that you need your own personal guide to find the chuckles in tragic circumstance. And who is the butt of these jokes? Not who, but what? Life. Life is the butt of these jokes. And trust me, life can take a joke. When I first hit the street, I saw another homeless person in the neighborhood with a cart nearly as laden as mine. A man who ended up befriending me later and had an enormous impact on my survival, but I didn't know him yet. Seeing him that first time across the street early on gave me hope, but not for reasons you might guess. He gave me hope because even at a distance, I could see that he had a microwave oven loaded onto the undercarriage of his overfull cart. And I thought the following: this poor fool. This poor fool has obviously totally lost it because he has a 20-pound electronic appliance as part of his load. And one glance says he did not just get evicted like I did. So at least there's one idiot stupider than me. I literally chuckled to myself with self-satisfaction at finding comfort in the humor of this sight. Sometimes something is both funny and not at once. And being able to see both dimensions simultaneously is a sign one is keeping their mentality as elevated as possible. One consequence of homelessness in the Phoenix area, no matter the time of year, is a very heavy suntan. Combined with an understandable dingy tinge, a homeless person can end up looking like they have been lightly toasted. At the end of that first week, I had a proper homeless tan from flying a sign on the corner each day. It was early evening, and as I stood there posted on the sidewalk, a young man I knew, but had not seen in a year, rolled past on his skateboard. I quietly said hello in his name, but he sailed past, and I assumed he hadn't heard me. A few minutes later, he came back because he said he went past on his board. He thought he heard me speak to him and said to himself, "Did that old black man just say my name?" I've always thought that was flattering and hysterical, both. Before I wrap up, let me finish the story I started about the other homeless guy I saw with a cart. His name ended up being Brian. He was chronically homeless, but generally very positive, and a no-impact camper, in the sense that he would leave no trace of his presence, would clean up around dumpsters, and the like. He took us under his wing a few days into our time on the street and transformed the experience, like a homeless Yoda with a positively indefatigable outlook. It was freezing that winter, but at least dry. We were staying behind the Food City at 44th and McDowell. There's a Little Caesars Pizza at one end of the plaza there. Now, it is a little-known fact that Little Caesars has been voted best dumpster pizza in Phoenix by the homeless for 5 of the past 6 years. Me and Brian were not part of the Academy of Voters that year, but we were taste testing just the same that night. We were able to grab a couple almost full pizzas that had been thoughtfully set inside the dumpster, inside boxes in such a way that homeless people like us could make use of them. We ended up creating a camp for ourselves that night on the backside of Food City. It was just below freezing, so a very kind guard had allowed us to set up because we were so respectful and clean. Once we were set up, Brian moved some boards, and lo and behold, there was an electrical outlet there which was not bolted closed. It had been camouflaged so that a stream of homeless people would not be gathered around it 24/7, charging phones. Out came that microwave, and 10 minutes later, me, Tequila, and Murphy were all eating the best free, hot stuffed crust personal pepperoni pizza I have ever tasted in my life. Before we all went to sleep, I quietly made a mental note, took back my earlier ridiculing laughter, and corrected myself for the future, full of truth as well as pizza. Peace, or perhaps I should say pizza, and much love.